This is going to be one of the most important videos you've ever watched in your entire life, because today we're going to break down A to Z exactly how to set up these 7 essential flows. These flows are going to automate sales for you, recover carts, and we're going to cover all of that today. And as a quick side note, you do not have to take notes today unless you want to, because you will have access to this entire document in the description below. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, so these 7 essential flows that automate sales in 2026, the entire playbook. So by the time you finish this video, you can start automating sales for your business. So why this matters, right? Ad costs are rising across e-commerce, which means every lost visitor is more and more expensive every year. Most customers are not ready to buy on their first visit. They need multiple touch points. And as I'm sure you know, more and more competitors are popping up every single day. So without automated follow-up, this traffic disappears and your acquisition spend is wasted. Customers also have much more skepticism and resistance. Like I said before, they need a ton more touch points. So if you're not consistently warming up and re-exposing shoppers after they show intent, conversions drop and so does profit. Email flows solve this by turning one visit into multiple chances to convert without paying more for ads. Brands without these systems are forced to rely on discounts or increased ad spend to survive. And as I'm sure you know, that just makes margins get thinner and thinner. So as you can see, this is without flows. Someone lands on your website, they exit, there's no sale, there's no way to follow up with these people. So as you can see with flows, someone lands on your website, they leave, that triggers a flow that they're then put into. So whether they add to cart, whether they just land on the website, don't browse, or whether they browse, that's all different triggers with different intents, and they will all get another touch point through those flows, which is also why pop-ups are super important. So I'll link that video down below as well, how you can capture these emails. So when people do land on your website or add to cart and then leave, you have their emails already. All right, so I'm Camille Campbell. You can check out my socials here. Let's move on. All right, so what we're gonna go over today is the biggest mistakes. What exactly are flows? I'm sure you have an idea, but just to make sure everyone's on the same page, the 7 essential flows, each flow breakdown. So we're gonna go into depth, optimizing your flows, and then winning email swipe files. So the biggest email flow mistakes that are costing you sales. You probably already have some flows running and you're wondering why they're not getting results. Most of the time, brands make these 3 mistakes that are costing them a ton of sales. So that first mistake being your flow is just way too short. You cannot just send one abandoned cart email and expect people to go complete the sale. Yes, most of the time that first email is where most of the conversions happen, but you'd be surprised how many more sales you can recover when you send more emails, right? Some people need more time to think about it. They need objections handled. You can't do everything all at once in one email. So just make sure that you have it long enough, which we're going to cover today. Mistake number 2, set it and forget it. This is probably the most common, the biggest mistake. You start a brand, you set up a quick flows that you've heard about in a blog or you've heard your friends talk about, and you never touch them again. Things are constantly changing. Messaging can go stale, offers expire, performance slowly drops without anyone noticing. What used to convert stops working. So you have to make sure you're testing, you're optimizing, and you're staying up to date with your flows. Mistake number 3, content that does not match buyer intent. So there's a difference between someone who's never purchased before versus someone who has purchased multiple times versus someone who abandoned checkout. They were so close to purchasing versus someone who just landed on your site and left, right? Abandoned checkout is much higher intent than site abandoned. So there is a little bit of a difference. But I'd say mistake number 1 and 2 are the biggest that I see, especially number 2. So exactly what are flows, right? So these are just automated email sequences that trigger when a customer takes or does not take a specific action. Here's some examples here. Someone joins your email list, boom, it's triggered to the welcome flow. I'm sure you know that one as well. Someone views a product but doesn't purchase, browse abandoned flow. Someone adds to cart, doesn't buy, cart abandoned, so on and so forth. So once you set up these flows, they send automatically, they personalize automatically. So if you have like dynamic content in your abandoned flows, which you should, it'll be obviously depending on what they left in their cart or what they were checking out. And this also just makes sales on autopilot. This is going to be a huge part of your email revenue. So it's very, very important. All right, so now let's get right into it. What are these 7 essential flows? We're going to break them down one by one. We're going to go over them first, actually. So what are these 7 essential flows? So these are the core flows every ecom brand needs to have running. You can have tons of different flows with tons of different logic, but if you do not nail these 7 flows first, none of that matters. So again, those 7 essential flows are your welcome flow, site abandoned, browse abandoned, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, Winback series, post-purchase, Winback series. And I put as a quick note here, all the abandonment flows need to have dynamic content. If they don't, it kind of defeats the purpose, right? So if someone was browsing, except for site abandoned, but if someone was browsing your website and they looked at a product, you need to show them that product. If they left an item in their cart behind, you need to show them that item. So that's super, super important. All right, so flow number 1 is gonna be your welcome flow. Typically with this flow, I like to send between 5 to 8 emails. I say 8 because most brands undershoot by a lot. This flow is not just to deliver a discount. First email, yeah, you want to deliver the discount, be quick. For some brands, you can add more, but there's a lot that goes into a welcome flow. You want to overcome objections. You want to, show social proof. You want to share benefits. This is one of the first touch points customers are going to have with your brand. So you want to leave a good impression. So the trigger for this one is signed up to email list and has purchased 0 times since starting this flow. If they purchase, we don't need to necessarily send them any more emails. They'll filter out and get the campaign emails, which will do similar things, right? Build trust, create good brand customer relationship. So let's look at the overview of this flow. So as I said, the trigger is added to email list, filter, placed order 0 times since starting this flow. So email 1, you want to keep it pretty simple. You're just going to welcome them. And if you have an incentive, which you likely do, and I typically recommend, you're going to deliver that. Just give brief brand info, core value proposition, best sellers. You don't need to do too much. You want to keep this pretty simple. Most people are just here to get their discount and we want them to go purchase anyway, right? So open the email, go purchase. So a quick example of that email. As you can see, if you download this document, you'll have the email layout, the email examples, and how to set up in Klaviyo. I will just show you in a quick video there. So good examples of email 1 here. As you can see, this is a reveal your mystery discount. That was the offer. So kept it super simple. Big CTA button at the top, reveal mystery discount, some quick benefits, help them figure out what purchase to make, some of your best sellers, social proof, done. Here's another great example by Lemmy. Big CTA button, ready to go, shop now, 10% off code right here, showing some of the best categories, some benefits, and a word from Kourtney Kardashian. Keep it super simple. You don't need to do anything crazy. Don't try and handle objections, show benefits, show social proof, all in one email. That's what the entire flow is for. Email 2 is going to be brand story. So your founding story, your mission, why we exist, who this product is for. This one's going to be more personal, obviously. So some good examples from Salt, one of the best founder-led brands right now. So if you are similar, you're a founder-led brand, I would check out their emails. So as you can see, they just kind of explain what the whole purpose of starting Salt was. And then of course have the CTA button, keep reminding them of that discount or that incentive that they have, some of the favorites, shop Salt. So keep it pretty simple. As you can see, this one's a little longer by Llama Naturals, but it still gets the job done. Very personal. As you can see Kevin, you can see Brad, you can see when they started, why they started. And again, best sellers, help just lead them to that purchase. And then we have some more benefits here as well. Keep it pretty simple. And as far as delay as well, let me touch on that very quickly. Just keep it a 1 to 2 day delay between each email. This is a pretty good frequency. Email number 3 is going to be brand unique selling points. So what are the core differentiators, right? This is where you're going to set yourself apart from competitors. As we talked about before, there's more and more competitors than ever. What makes your brand different? So whether that's ingredients, whether that's benefits, whether that's how it's made. So what makes you different? And a good example here of email 3, we have Salt, the hydration difference. So just showing basically the difference between using Salt and not using Salt. Here's another great example. This is gonna kind of lean into an us versus them email. So what Llama Natural does versus what they never do, right? So since a lot of competitors use synthetic junk or use refined sugars or sweeteners. And again, just showing some best sellers, help guide this new subscriber to their first purchase. So that is email number 3. Now, email number 4 is going to be social proof. I'm sure you understand this one, customer testimonials. We want to gain some trust here. So there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can show a few different testimonials. One of the best ways I believe is show like 1 or 2 really like in-depth testimonials that are overcoming objections and just kind of angle the whole email around that, right? So some good examples here would be this Lemmy one. So as you can see, these are in-depth reviews. I've been using probiotics since I was 2015. Since 2015. I've taken, you can read that one. But as you can see, these are really in-depth reviews about each of their best sellers. So this is a great way to do that as well. And same here with Llama Naturals, just showing 3 really good in-depth reviews that are handling some objections for you. So your customers are one of the best people to sell your products. All right, number 5 is going to be product focus. So show best sellers or hero products, break them down a little bit more so people understand the benefits of them. You can show before and afters as well. So a good example of this here, we have Lemmy. As you can see, these are their 3 best sellers. You have Lemmy Purr, Lemmy to Bloat, Lemmy Burn, and then it breaks down 4 to three to four benefits of each of those products. So by this point, the customer, is a few days into the flow. Maybe they're just like, I don't know which product to choose. I don't know what's best for me. Help guide them more, give some more information on your best sellers. Email 6 is going to go heavy into the us versus them. I know I mentioned it a little bit here with the brand unique selling points, but this is, you really want to do us versus them. This is one of the best campaign emails to send and definitely works super, super well in a welcome flow. So as you can see, us versus the other guys, just straight up, us versus competitors. Graza canola oil, expensive olive oil, tells you the difference. Same thing with salt. Salt versus water. Obviously, I wouldn't say water is a competitor, right? But it's a great example of us versus them. Salt versus just regular water. Add salt to your water, season your water. So this is a really, really great email to have in this flow. And then finally, if you do have an incentive, which again, I do recommend, you want to have some urgency now. It's like, all right, you've been here for at least a week. You haven't purchased yet. Let me remind you, like, you're going to have to pay full price soon. So you really just want to hone in on urgency here with email 7. So this is a great example, 24 hours left with a countdown timer. These do really, really well. Some Q&As like, hey, you haven't purchased yet. You're about to lose your discount. Let me answer some questions you might be having. So just adding some urgency there. And then email 8, the banger message from founder. You want this to be plain text, just like, hey, is everything okay? Do you need help with anything? Please, reach out to us if you need, you have any questions you need to be answered. Great example by Salt here. Hey there, Million Hin here. Don't worry, nothing spammy here. We just noticed you subscribed to Salt's email and haven't tried us yet. If there's any questions or anything, please drop us a DM, link to the DM on Salt Instagram, link to Instagram. We'll respond far better there with a voice note, photos, etc. Now they are, a newer brand. So if you can't, DM people and leave voice notes, that's fine, but you still want to say, hey, is there anything I can help with? Here's one of my favorites. You can have a PS of like, PS, don't forget, this is the last day. Check out this part. Like, you want to be personal here. This is a new subscriber. They've seen some stuff from your brand. They don't know if they fully trust you yet. Send a message from the founder. So this is a breakdown of the welcome flow. All right, let's move on to our second flow. It's going to be your site abandon. So this flow triggers when someone visits your site, but they do not browse a product, they do not add to cart, they do not make it to checkout, they just leave. Like, they land and they leave. So usually this happens simply because they got a phone call. Their kid was crying and right? So usually it's just distraction. Most people are just gonna land on our website and then just leave, or they just found nothing enticing enough to click on, right? So we wanna make sure that we get them back on the site. This one is pretty simple. It's just one email because it's not super, super high intent. But the goal here and the beauty of the abandonment flows is if we can get someone who abandoned site to go back on site and browse a product, if they leave again, now they're in that browse abandonment flow. So this flow should just be super low pressure. It should just feel helpful, not necessarily salesy, and then guide them to something popular, super easy to choose, right? So some of your best sellers. So the trigger for this is going to be active on site, and the filter is going to be has not viewed a product, added to cart, started checkout, placed an order, or been in the flow in the last 30 days. So kind of everything I just explained to you, they literally did not go further down the funnel. It's going to be your filters. So let's take a look at this one singular email. So again, here you'll see your trigger and filters. Delay here, 1 to 4 hours. Again, it's not super high intent, but we just still want to be like, hey, you visited the site. Do you need help with anything? Here's some best sellers. Let's look at a really good example here by Dr. Squatch, the goats themselves. So you lingered. Now you're ready to claim what's yours. This was a GIF of some of their best sellers, just swiping through their best sellers, saying shop now, the Squatch difference. So this is just a great simple example. You don't need to do too much here. Just show some best sellers, try and get them back on the site and checking out a product. All right, so browse abandonment. So this flow is where things start to get a little higher intent. They checked out a product, so they're obviously interested, but they're not fully convinced on the product or don't fully trust the brand yet, which is why this flow exists, obviously. So this, again, you'll see as we get higher intent, there's more emails. This one's still a little lower intent, but they were interested in a product. So 3 to 5 emails is a good, 3 to 5 emails is a good frequency for this flow. The trigger is always going to be viewed product, didn't add to cart, didn't check out, didn't place an order, has not been in the flow in the last 30 days. So the purpose of this, we want to re-engage shoppers who viewed a product, but didn't act, bring attention back to the exact product they showed interest in, and build confidence and remove hesitation. So let's take a look at this flow. For this example, I did do the full 5 emails. You can do just the 3 emails as well. But again, some people undershoot. So for this delay, you want to do 30 to 60 minutes. We're getting a little higher intent. And the closer to when they made that action, the better. They're still kind of in that buying or browsing state. The further you wait, they forgot about it, they're making dinner, whatever it is. So we want to do a 30 to 60 minute delay. This is a great test to run, which we'll go into a little bit later, but testing between that time frame. So email 1, it's just a reminder. We want to have the dynamic product there for them to view. And just show a main benefit or outcome. All right, so this is just going to be a simple product reminder. Don't think too deeply into this first email. So here's a really good example by Dr. Squatch and Nude Project. I love Nude Project. So you're so close to the next level of squatching, literally just showing what was left behind, get started. That's it. It doesn't have to be too complicated for this first email. Ha, got you. Now this is on brand for them. So now who's the stalker? I saw you looking at this gym before, showing what I was looking at. Funny GIF. Keep it short and simple. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. And that's pretty much it on email 1. Same delay between these, 1 to 2 days as that welcome flow. Second email, some social proof. Because again, remember, they don't know if they fully trust your brand yet. So we want to add some social proof here. A great example by Dr. Squatch. Finish what you started. Now they're very big on discounts, so they're immediately offering a discount, 20% off for the whole pack. The world's best subscription. So they're showing, hey, we have free shipping. You can get extra saving on subscription orders. You get early access to new drops. You have full control over this subscription, because as you can see, it was a subscription that I was looking at. So they're kind of telling the benefits of the subscription, like, hey, you can trust us. You can cancel anytime. You're going to save more money. You're going to get free shipping. You're going to have early access. And they add a little urgency here. Because I was checking out a subscription, right? This is more focused on building trust about the subscription. In that email example, but for you, just show some social proof, like, hey, people love, our face scrub that you were checking out. Take a look at their results or whatever it is. So build some social proof here, gain some trust. Product education. So go deeper into product details or features, use cases or who it's for, answer common product questions, right? So educate a little bit on this product. Because again, they don't know, I don't know if it's going to work for me. I'm just looking, I don't know. Boom, we want to hit them with this. Why choose Squatch, right? This is a perfect example. We cater to men who prefer natural. So they break it down. Many brands treat soap like bottom of the barrel, literally moving the good stuff before selling it to you, not Dr. Squatch, yada, yada. So you want to, and this was another cool GIF, you want to reinforce why your product works, who it works for, and reassure them that it's going to work for them, right? Like, this is a good product and this is why. And then 4, we're going to handle some objections. So address the biggest hesitations. You owning your brand, you probably know what your biggest objections are, right? Like, if you're a clothing brand, I don't know if it's going to fit right. I don't know if it's good material. If you're a supplement brand, I don't know if it has enough protein. I don't know if it's good quality protein. I don't know if it's all natural, whatever it is. We want to handle some objections. So pricing, quality, fit, etc. Comparison or us versus them, risk reversals like returns and warranties. Optional, you can introduce, because this is kind of like medium intent. If you don't want to introduce a discount in this flow, you don't have to. If you do, I'd enter it here at email 4. So let's show a good example of this one, handling some objections. So they're still, of course, pushing their 20% off the subscription, because if you're a subscription brand, you want a subscription, right? So here's what you'll get. Again, they're reinforcing why I can trust this subscription, why it's such a good subscription. So again, I get free shipping on every order, exclusive savings on all subscription orders, early access, full control. I can cancel anytime. That is one of the biggest objections anyone has with subscriptions. I don't want to be locked in. I can modify or cancel my subscription anytime. So that's probably the biggest objection with subscriptions, right? It's like, I want to be able to cancel. So whatever that is for you, if you own a clothing brand, send a size guide here. Like, hey, make sure this shirt fits well for you. So just handle some objections with email 4. Email 5, just urgency. Again, that's typically how we're going to end most flows. Again, if you offered a discount, purely just, hey, like, your discount's about to be gone. So New Project has a great example of a different style of urgency, right? It's about to sell out. Go buy it. You checked it out. We know you're into it. If you don't purchase it, it's going to be gone, right? And then again, here with Dr. Squatch, it's just, hey, you have last chance. It's literally your last chance to take action. You can get 20% off today, or you cannot get it again. So that is some great examples of a really, really strong browse abandonment flow. So here's going to be our cart and checkout abandonment. You might be wondering why they're together. These are 2 different flows. A lot of brands actually have these set up incorrectly. What they really have, they think they have an abandoned cart flow. What really they have is abandoned checkout, because their trigger is checkout started. So you want to make sure you have both of these flows. For one, you need both, and that the cart abandon trigger is actually added to cart and did not purchase, and the checkout abandon is checkout started and didn't purchase, right? So you want to make sure you have those two set up correctly. Since I started email marketing and just like looking at brands and breaking them down, that is one of the biggest things I've seen is they do not actually have an abandoned cart. So this is probably one of the most infamous flows, and for good reason. They are to blame for recovering sales, but if they aren't optimized or set up correctly, you're leaving tons of money on the table. Like actually, like I know you hear email marketers and agencies say that, but it is genuinely so true. You're leaving so many sales on the table if you do not have these set up correctly. For this one, you want to do 6 to 8 emails. The more, the better. Purpose, remind them what they left behind. As I said, all abandonment flows, except for site abandoned, should have that dynamic content. You want to remove objections, add some social proof, show benefits. The trigger for your cart abandon is going to be added to cart. Your filter is going to be checkout started 0 times since starting this flow, placed order 0 times since starting this flow, has not been in the flow in the last 30 days. For checkout abandon, trigger is obviously going to be checkout started. So your 2 filters will be placed order 0 times starting this flow, has not been in the flow, has not been in flow in the last 30 days. All right, so let's go over this flow. And as you can see, again, you'll have access to the trigger and the filters. These are going to be very, very similar. So because this is such high intent, we want to delay it 30 minutes, right? We do not want to do 2 hours, 3 hours, 90 minutes. This is a very hot lead, right? They are so close to purchasing. They just need some extra nudge. And again, the longer we wait, the less they are in that buying frame of mind. Email 1, again, as I mentioned, simple reminder. We want to keep this simple. This is going to be, most people are going to purchase on this first email, but these next ones are going to be just as important. So this first email, again, let's just keep it super, super simple. By Supergut, we have their hero section, we have the dynamic product section, then we have some reassurance here, right? Like it's clinically validated, money back guarantee, 1,000+ 5-star reviews, 5 reasons you should up your fiber. This is a great example. It's short, sweet, straight to the point while still adding in some value. Dr. Squatch, they keep things usually much more dry than Supergut, but you're so close to next level squatching. It's very similar to the one I showed you before. Dynamic content, leave it at that, right? You don't need to do anything too crazy for this first email. And then email number 2 is going to be social proof. So again, we mentioned it. You want to just show some good testimonials, show some trust signals, kind of how Supergut just did. We have free shipping, we have free returns. What are your guarantees? Reinforce the value of the products in their cart. So just give them some social proof. Hey, this is why you can trust us, right? You kind of do, you almost purchased. This is why you can. So still thirsty, you're so close to perfect hydration. Again, every email needs to have that dynamic content, every single email in this flow. And then we have some really good testimonials here, 5-star reviews, IQ bar, same thing here. And then as you can see, we have our 1, 2, 3 super good reviews, right? So throw in some social proof. Why can they trust you? Hey, look, it's worked for other people. So that is going to be email number 2. Email number 3 is going to be objection handling. You have to think where their head is at, right? They almost purchased, but they didn't. Why? They probably have some objections. Again, you can mention shipping, returns, delivery time, reassurance around purchase risk. Let's take a look at a great example of email number 4. So 20% off ends today. Obviously, they already offered the discount in this flow. We have the dynamic content, make sure it's there. Don't miss these benefits. They're showing some of the best benefits. Again, some trust signals here, money back guarantee, clinically validated. We have a ton of great reviews. And then another great example by Gains in Bulk. So the objection they're handling for this one is the price of their products. So in your mind, you're like, fuck, I don't want to spend $40 on creatine. And then they say, hey, we get you might think it's a little expensive, but this is why. It's quality, it's third-party tested, it's bloat-free, it's 100% pure and natural, there's no side effects, right? So the objection that you can clearly see they're handling here is their price. So you will probably know what's the biggest objection for your brand and handle that here. Email number 5, we're gonna introduce some urgency. All right, so let's take a look at email 5. So we have an example here by Muggsy. We're ready when you are, just a heads up. Some items you added to your cart are running low in inventory. So you get that and you go, oh, I don't have much time to think about this, right? And again, more trust signals, free shipping, free returns, excellent experience. Read the 30,000+ reviews. Same thing with Nude Project, put the same one here. It's about to sell out. So it doesn't always have to be, you know, your discount expires soon. I do not recommend introducing a discount here yet because it's such high intent. If we can handle objections and get the sale at full price, that's even better. And obviously I made a mistake here. There are 2 email 5s. You want to send 1 email 5. So here, you do not have to have a conditional split. I would recommend it, but you don't need to if this is still kind of new for you. You can just kind of have it go into one flow. So you can have just number 6, or you can do 6, 7, 8 and not have this conditional split. But this conditional split's pretty easy. And again, if you download this document, I'll show you how to set it up. If they have, we're just gonna send them one more email from the founder. If they haven't, this person almost purchased, we're about to get a new customer. Let's try and push them a little bit more. Let's give them an incentive. So let's take a look at those who have purchased. This is just gonna be a simple message from the founder. Again, there's gonna be consistency you see here as far as the last emails. Plain text, short and direct, personal tone, final reminder of items, clear last chance message. So let's take a look at this 6A, which is also number 8, but we'll get into that. So it's a great example by Gains in Bulk. Hey Camille, your item's waiting, and so is your 12% off discount, but not for long. You've got your eyes on the right products, but we know it's not just about making a purchase. It's about investing in quality you can trust. At Gains in Bulk, we don't just promise the best, we effing prove it. Every ingredient you can see, right? It's just from the founder. And even here, you want to say, like stay strong, brave, and founder. As far as your CTA button, it's just text. You're going to highlight that text, put the link there. It just feels really, really personal, and it's going to help convert those people who are later down in the flow. All right, so let's take a look at email 6 for people who have not purchased. Here's where we're going to introduce the incentive. Now, again, if you don't want to have a conditional split, you can just introduce this incentive at email 6 for everyone. So let's add some urgency and again, remind them of what they left behind. Now 20% off, they up it from 12%. Your order to become un-F-withable. So use this code at checkout, finish my order, become un-F-withable. And then here we just have some more risk reversal. Number 7, last chance, discount ends soon. A great example here is going to be from Supergut. I think I showed this one already, but 20% off ends today in red. We've got your cart for the next 24 hours, dynamic content for all of them. And again, just reinforcing benefits or adding trust signals. And then email 8, message from the founder is going to be the same as email 6A. So the last email, whichever conditional split it is going to be the same email. All right, now our post-purchase. This is a highly underrated flow in my opinion. You don't want to just send a thank you and tracking. You want to get your new or old customers excited about their purchase, right? Do not let them get buyer's remorse. You do not want that to happen. You can also use this flow to cross-sell, upsell, or build your community on socials, as well as collecting UGC, which is not talked about a lot, but you can get some great UGC from this flow. So anywhere between 3 to 6 emails is a good range. Your trigger is going to be obviously place an order, filter, no filter. They place an order, right? So let's take a look at this overview. Again, I'm doing the maximum amount of emails for each flow, just so you have them all. If you want to do less, you can do less. Minimum 3. So let's take a look at this first email. This one's going to be more obvious. A founder, thank you. So thank the customer for their order, reassure them that they made the right choice, and set expectations as far as shipping and next steps. You don't have to, but this is a really, really good opportunity to use a plain text email. So let's take a look at a good example of email number 1. So again, this one's pretty much text-based, just showing the product left behind with some images. But thank you for your purchase. Hey there, Smiles Davis. Thank you for shopping with us. We're glad you did. You and your pet are supporting a family-owned Canadian business, been in operation for over 30 years. We sold liquor shelters, etc., etc. Show them what they purchased. We're here if you need us. So FAQ page. And again, you get 6-day returns, Canada-wide shipping, proudly Canadian, right? Super simple. Just leave a touching message. For email number 2, you want to have a 1 to 2 day delay. And this email will be how to use / what to expect. So you want to show customers how to use the product correctly. You don't want them to get it, not understand how to use it, throw it aside, and never want to purchase from you again because they didn't understand how to use it. You don't want that. So you want to show them how to use it, show them some tips for the best results or experience, and then common mistakes to avoid, right? And a great example here from Sundays. Hi, Smiles Davis. Yada, yada, yada. They're practicing vegetarian. I hear a few times the same questions when people switch dog foods. I want to make sure you have everything you needed to make the move to Sundays a successful one, right? So switching dog foods, here's the common questions people have. How can I change my dog's food? How much Sundays should I feed my dog? What should my dog's poop look like? So this is a great way to make it a very easy transition from old dog food to new dog food, right? Because if someone's like, they didn't like it, they never buy it from you again because their dog didn't like the food, when the reality is you just didn't make the switch properly. They're making sure that's handled. So this is a great, great email by Sundays. People love their dogs. If you have one, I'm sure you do. Again, we're going to have a 1 to 2 day delay. And then email number 3 is going to be some social proof. So some customer testimonials or reviews, reinforce outcomes other people have experienced. You could say something like, look at the party you're joining, something of that nature. So natural nutrition is headed your way. This is a great example. Again, by Sundays, they will be in this we will have a lot of examples from them in this flow. So a dog food with a clear list of real whole food ingredients delivered directly to you. Ingredients from the land, not the lab. As you can see here, we have some social proofs. All right, so the fourth email, you want to have a 2 to 3 day delay. And this is where we're going to try and cross-sell and upsell complementary products. So have some recommendations here. You can do a pairs well with, most customers also buy, benefits of adding on now. This is one of the best flows to cross-sell and upsell because they just purchased, they are in a buying mood. And if you add some complementary products and you do it correctly, it can really, really boost your average order value. So let's take a look at email number 4, another great example. We have one here by Ritual, vitamins coming at you, essential for women, delivered by July 24th. This is a little bit of a different example, right? But here, give five, get five. Give your friends $5 off their first month of Ritual, plus you get a credit for every pal that joins. Are you ready to share the health, right? So they just purchased. This is a great time to be like, hey, do you want to get your other friends on this? This works really well because this is a subscription. So they just got their first month's worth. And now you can say, hey, this next month that you're going to have to pay for in 30 days, you can get $5 off if you invite a friend. A lot of people will say yes here. So this is a really, really good example by Ritual. But more examples outside of subscriptions, right? Say you have a supplement brand, you just sold protein. You probably know what some great cross sells are going to be, like a blender bottle, like a little funnel, right? Things of that nature is great to add in here. Now we're going to stick with a 2 to 3 day delay here for the 5th email. This is kind of where you just want to invite them to follow you on your social media or join your community. Now that they have purchased, you want to get them involved. You want to create lifelong customers. So that's really what this flow can do here. So let's look at a really, really good example here. We get dog people because we are dog people. Join us on Instagram, right? So join 30K plus of our closest friends and they're humans. You can follow on Facebook. Don't miss their TikTok. You just want to get people on your socials, get them involved with your community, get them involved with your brand. And this is a great point to do that. And then the last email here, we want to wait 7 to 14 days because we're going to do a review request. Because obviously if they have not used your product yet, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to say, okay, I'll wait and leave a review, and then forget, never leave a review. Or they're just not going to leave a review because they haven't used your product, right? So we want to make sure you time that up correctly, which is why it's pretty wide open as far as delay, because you might have very quick shipping and can put a delay of 7 days, whereas you might not. You might have to do 14 days. You want to make sure they not only get the product, but have time to use the product. So this is where we're going to ask for a review. And this is where I like to offer an incentive for photos or videos to collect UGC. So you can say, hey, we would love a review. Next section, by the way, want 20% off your next order, leave us a photo, right? Leave us a photo for 10% off your next order, leave us a video for 20% off your next order, whatever it may be. And that's how you can collect UGC on autopilot. And I know how expensive it's getting. And some of the best creators are your customers, right? Because they love your product, they used it. So here's a great example again, by none other than themselves, but Sunday, you have the right stuff. So here, leave us a review. Turns out a good deed does get rewarded. Spread the word. When you sign up to refer friends and family, not only will you get 50% off their first purchase, but you'll get $50 to use towards your next purchase. So again, pushing that give 50, get 50. But this is a great way to do that. Or you can put here, hey, want 20% off your next purchase, send us, leave us a photo or a video talking about the product, etc., etc. So this flow is really, really important. It's overlooked a lot by like really big brands. They just have these, automatic updates that they'll still get, by the way. This post-purchase flow does not override delivery updates, right? That is still going to happen. But a lot of brands just do, and big brands just do the delivery updates when people need more than that, right? This is your opportunity. They have spent money with you. They have spent their hard-earned money with you. This is an opportunity to create a lifelong customer. Show them why you're such a great brand, add them into your community, right? So make sure you really implement this flow and you don't overlook this flow, because a lot of brands do. Final flow, you have hung in there. We're almost done. 7 is going to be your win back. The goal here is obviously to win a customer back. We need to remind them why they bought in the first place, and even offer an incentive if necessary. Now, remember, if you're consistently sending 3 to 4 campaigns a week, which you should be, that is going to do most of the heavy lifting to getting customers to purchase again, right? That's going to be kind of the heart of your attention, is those campaigns and your flows. And that's what we're going over right now. So having them dialed in, it's going to do most of the heavy lifting. Do not put a ton of pressure on this win-back flow to be your entire retention strategy, right? Like, I'm sure it's not, but you get my point of just keep this flow super simple. Your other flows and your good campaigns are going to do most of the heavy lifting. This is just an extra nudge. So think of it like that, not the retention flow. This is going to just be an extra nudge to win a customer back flow. So for this flow, we're going to do 3 to 5 emails. Again, let's keep it super simple. The purpose, re-engage past customers, bring them back into the buying cycle, remind them why they bought in the first place, drive repeat purchases, clean up your list, and then clean up your list by identifying inactive users. So trigger is going to be placed order, filter is going to be placed order 0 times starting this flow. Obviously, if they purchase, we want to get them out the flow. Now, the delay. This delay is going to be a little different than all the other ones. How we like to do it is your expected repurchase window times 2.5, or how often you release a collection. So if you're a supplement brand, you're going to have a more obvious repurchase window, right? Most of your products probably have a 30 to 60 day serving size for that tub of protein, right? Or for the pills, it's usually 30 to 60 days. That one makes much more sense as far as the expected repurchase window. If you're a clothing brand or you sell phone chargers, whatever it may be, just do it how often you release a new collection, right? Times 2.5. This typically is between 60 to 180 days. So that is the formula we use. So email 1 is just a simple, we miss you, acknowledge it's been a while, be friendly, be human, light reminder and CTA to browse or check out what's new, right? So let's take a look at that email example. So this is a funny one by Pet Oasis, right? Hot dog, we miss you. 15% off your purchase. This one, they kind of just went straight in for a discount. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you want to, go for it. But this is just a great example of just like, hey, we miss you. It's been a while. Like, don't forget about us, right? You want to keep it pretty simple, again, because your campaigns and your other flows are going to do the heavy lifting. Number 2, then you want to wait 7 days, right? You don't want to do too much because, again, you're sending 3 to 4 campaigns a week. And if they have browsed or done anything of that nature, they are in those flows as well. So we want to have the delays between these a little longer. So a 7-day delay here between all of these, a 7-day delay here between most of these emails. So email number 2 is going to be what they've missed. Show them some new products, show them some updates, some improvements, some bestsellers or popular items, social proof or customer favorites, right? If you've done a new collab, like, hey, we did a collab a week ago. I don't know if you've seen it, yada, yada. You get the point. Show them what's new. So a good example for email number 2 here, we have a software. This is still a good example. We've been busy adding some exciting features we think you'll love. Have you tried Ask Your Friend feature, right? So we want to show some new projects, what's been going on behind the scenes, some new drops that they've missed, get them back in the loop with the brand. All right, now email number 3, and here we're going to just show some product recommendations. You can tie it into what they've purchased before. You can show some new categories. You can show some best sellers. We also want to enforce product benefits here. So email number 3, this is a horrible design, but you can see here the 4 main categories. We got swimwear, gifts, ruffle butts, and best sellers. So we want to show off some products and some main categories. And again, we're going to wait 7 days. And here's where we want to drop that incentive. Like, hey, you have purchased before. Will a discount do it? So it's a great example by Dollar Shave Club. We missed you. Can we bribe you with a $5 deal? And here they go into some of the benefits, what it includes. This helps soften hair. So this is a really, really good, simple, clean example by Dollar Shave Club. And then for the final email, we want to wait 2 days. Since we did offer the incentive, we want to keep the urgency up and be like, hey, this is your last chance. This is the final check-in message. You are not going to get this discount again. So this is an example by Backcountry here. You can say they say you have until November 30th to use comeback or it's gone. Now, obviously, we want to do this a little differently. We don't want to put the date. We just want to say, hey, this is your last chance. You have 24 hours. Get your discount before it's gone. And again, I'll show you how to set up in Klaviyo if you would like this document. So we got through every flow. I hope I did okay. I hope I explained it well enough. Now we're going to get into optimizing. You do not have to do a ton of crazy tests. Testing flows can be stressful, they can be hard and confusing to track, and documenting is hard, right? Everything's all over the place. You don't get results back in 24 hours like campaigns, right? You have to wait to see if something works. So the best way to do this at scale is to take what's working in your campaigns and put it into your flows. Use your campaigns as your testing grounds. They're much easier to track. You test one things and get results back in 24 hours instead of having to wait to see the results of the flows. So again, take it from your campaign and put it in your flows. For example, if an us versus them campaign did really well, put it in your abandoned cart flow. If a testimonial campaign absolutely killed it, throw it in your welcome flow. You get the point. This just allows for a much less overwhelming optimization, but there are a few flow-specific A and B tests you should run. So the first one is obviously going to be delay timing, right? So the first initial email delay, as well as the delays between emails. So you can test a 30-minute versus 60-minute delay. This is a pretty clear and simple test to run, but you do want to make sure you are testing delays. Next is going to be subject line and preview text. This one's obvious, but it's still good to test since the volume is consistent. So for example, for your first welcome email, you could test welcome in with a smile emoji versus welcome in without a smile emoji, right? You can test putting your 10% off weights in the subject line versus your discount weights. So things like that, as well as the preview text you do in a test. And then another really, really great one, which we kind of talked about, is graphic versus text-based. Text-based emails, when it's important, high urgency, really do improve results, and it's always worth testing. So for that first welcome email, you could test text-based versus graphic-based. This is worth testing. And then finally is going to be long form versus short content, right? Some brands, if you are like a health and wellness brand and you have this new formula, you're probably going to need more education and you're probably going to need longer content. There's more objections. People need to understand your ingredients and how they work, versus like if you sell phone cases, shorter content for like abandonment flows, they might just need, those 5 reminders, right? Just super quick reminders, and then you tell them you have free shipping and guaranteed returns, versus a supplement brand with a branded formula. So this is worth testing, especially in those abandonment flows, whether a super short email that's straight to the point or a longer, more educational email works better for your brand. That is all, folks. You sat through this. I hope this was educational. This is my second video, so if you have any feedback, please let me know. If I talk too fast, I'm too energetic, whatever it may be, please do leave me some feedback. Again, this document is in the description below. You do not have to go through and try and find where I was talking about certain things in this video. You can access the document. It tells you everything you need to do. You have some great examples that you can base your emails off of, and all the technical stuff as well is all in this document. So I hope this made some sense. Now go out, go set these flows up, get them running, get them live, and leave me a comment and let me know how they perform for you. Now, if you don't want to do this yourself, you can also book a call below in the description with me directly, and I will run an audit and we can set all of this up for you. But nonetheless, I hope this was useful. Leave some feedback. Go set your flows up and get your document so you don't have to go through the entire video. Cheers, guys. I hope you have a good one. Ciao for now.